What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Toxeyboyo, and the state of play for June 2026 just happened. It's come and gone. I quick thoughts about the whole show. I don't necessarily see what we were announcing it 2 weeks in advance for. I don't see why we were showing it in movie theaters. It was cool, right? But not something that was worth making such a huge spectacle about. Half of it was games that we already knew were coming out. And then there was an announcement of like a cooking sim and stuff like that, and another first-person zombie game. And then Until Dawn 2, which I clocked about halfway through the trailer. But we also got the opening 20 minutes of gameplay of our new God of War title. It's a spin-off about Laufey, or Faye, also known as Atreus' mother, the giant who was Kratos' wife, who dies at the beginning of God of War 2018. Now, there were rumors I had seen on Twitter a little while ago about a spin-off title centered on Faye coming out. I didn't really pay it any mind because I've been doing this a long time. I try not to give credence to rumors until I see something official come from, the horse's mouth. And hey, it was an official announcement at the state of play. It doesn't get much more credible than that. I'm not here to talk about the franchise going woke or anything like that, or you're playing as a woman. I don't care about any of that. I'm sure that Twitter and YouTube and TikTok would be very, very normal about that, right? But I do want to talk about what we saw. It looks like this game is taking place in some sort of godly afterlife, which calls into question, why is Faye in this godly afterlife? As far as we know, she was not a god, she was simply a giant. I'm sure that the game will go into that in some sort of detail. But there's a lot of interesting things going on, because we see that it seems to be a shared godly afterlife, because we do see something that is very clearly inspired by Chinese mythology, and then something that is very clearly inspired by like Aztec Maya mythology as well, like in the same frame next to each other. So I find that very interesting. Obviously, in the spirit of having God of War Valhalla come out a little while ago, we're interested in flirting with Greece again, so do not be surprised if you see somebody like Zeus or Poseidon or Hermes or something. Or maybe even Pandora. I think that could be interesting as well. But there's a lot of theory crafting that could be done. One thing that we did see is that time seems to be moving very differently in this afterlife in comparison to, into how things are actually progressing through the main story of God of War 2018, because like halfway through, at the 10-minute mark, you hear the serpent horn be blown. They're trying to call Jormungandr. Then a little bit after that, Kratos appears and helps Faye onto her feet. And I'm a little rusty on what happens in 2018, but I'm pretty sure that would be when Kratos goes into the light of Alfheim, because it seems like she expected to go into the light, but something happened, right? So maybe having had a child with a god has given her some sort of godly essence to go to this afterlife. I don't know. I really don't know what the rules are. But also, Kratos was a god his whole life, and when he died, he went to Hades, not whatever this place is. So there is still some explaining to do on that front. There's a mask on a corpse that seems to be connected to the mask that Odin is so fixated on in God of War Ragnarok. So everything is kind of interconnecting. I would not be surprised if you see Baldur, Magni, Modi, maybe even Thor and Odin in this game, because like I said, time is strange here. Things are moving really fast in comparison to the way that we experienced them in God of War 2018. We don't know how long the campaign of this game is going to be. I'm going to say maybe 5 or 6 hours. I think it's a Spider-Man Miles Morales type situation where it's not going to be super long. But I do also want to talk some of the gameplay that we saw. You've got air combos back, everybody. Like, the bones of the Norse saga combat is still there. It's still about parrying and spacing and using your dodge, stuff like that appropriately, but we've got air combos back. This is the sauciest that the combat has been since the franchise came back. I'm really excited about that. We can address it. I can already hear people complaining about Whoa, 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 whoa. But here's the thing. This is a woman who captured the attention and the heart of Kratos. And we know, according to what Kratos has said, that she was strong and that she was impressive. We also know that the Leviathan axe that we've been using for the last 2 games belonged to her and was forged by Brock and Sindri for the purpose of going toe-to-toe with Mjolnir. We also know, if you've played through all of God of War Ragnarok, we also know that at a certain point in history, Faye and Thor fought one another to a standstill. They stalemated. Yes, they're both giants, so that might have something to do with it, but regardless, Faye is relative to Thor in strength, so we know she's a badass. We already knew this. We accepted it. We were willing to stomach the idea that those two were able to fight evenly. Why is it like, why would it be a problem to then actually play as her in a game? It sounds fun to me. Now, unfortunately, 2 good things can't happen in a row. I am not feeling those companion characters. I'm not moved by the cube named Frank. I don't like it being on the box art. I don't rock with the ribbons named Rue or whatever their name is. I don't think that every game needs to have a companion character. I don't need constant yapping in my ear in this game. I'm somebody who's a huge fan of games like Shadow of the Colossus. I like Souls games. I like games where you can be solitary for a minute. It doesn't have to be constant noise. It doesn't have to always be a character yapping all the time. And in the era that we're in, where we're kind of inundated with that, in games like Horizon, in games like Spider-Man, where there's always a podcast happening, or somebody's always calling you on the phone, or something like that. Like, it feels like it started with Uncharted. It's in games like Forspoken. It's even in the Final Fantasy VII remakes. There's just always somebody talking in these games. And when it's somebody charming like Mimir, I'm okay with it. But a lot of times it's not. And, you know, even in God of War Ragnarok, one thing that was really frustrating is that, like, you would walk into a room with a puzzle in it, and within maybe a minute or 2, your companion characters would start being, try lighting this thing on fire, try throwing your axe at this thing. And it's like, let me take in my surroundings for a second and try a couple things. If I make a couple mistakes, then maybe give it some hints, but let me work it out myself, or at least try to. I'm concerned that we're gonna have that exact same thing happening again. It's a cube. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe when the game comes out and I play it, I'll fall in love with this cube, but I do not foresee that happening right now. But honestly, I'm really excited for this game. I love God of War. I've been playing it my entire life. I'm over the moon for a new God of War game, to be honest with you. So I can't wait for this. Again, this is not the next God of War. This is a spin-off. It's a side story. I think it's something to probably tee up what happens next with Kratos. I think that that's the purpose of exploring this multiple gods from different mythologies, like coexisting in a shared space. I think that's the whole point of exploring something like that, is so that we can set up or tee up or like try to transition into the next chapter for Kratos. I've done a video over on the main channel about what should be next for Kratos, where he should go, what he should do. I'll probably link that in the description. But I have said for a while that I don't necessarily think Kratos needs to go to a new land and start killing more gods. I don't think that that's the thing that his character needs. I think that if he were to go to a new land and get a broker peace with gods, that could be more interesting, and then something else happens, and then maybe have a shared enemy or something like that. I just don't want to rinse and repeat this whole saga. That's just me. But God of War Laufey, are you excited for it? What are you looking forward to most? What's the thing that happened in the gameplay reveal they gave us that you were most interested in? What stood out to you the most? And what do you think is the meaning of everything that we saw today? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below and educate me, please. I want to hear about it. I really do. And I'll see you with my next upload.